Welcome to a special Election Day special of Meet the Press Now. Voters nationwide are casting their ballots. It's the first major election day since President Trump's return to the White House, with the government shutdown about to become the longest in American history. So the big question, with the first polls closing in just a few hours, what message are voters about to send, and what will it mean heading into next year's midterms? In New York City, we are going to get results tonight in a mayor's race that has already echoed through the American political system thanks to the rise of 34-year-old Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani. In New Jersey, Democrat Mikey Sherrill seeking to head off a fierce challenge from Republican Jack Ciattarelli in a major test of whether Republicans can solidify President Trump's gains from last November in a typically blue state. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger is looking to flip Virginia's governor's mansion, facing off against Republican Winsome Earl Sears. The candidates making their closing arguments in the closing hours of the campaign.
Time now for a new day in our politics, and it is an honor and a privilege to be a part of a movement that has fought every single day to bring that day forward.
I'm feeling very good. I feel the momentum is on our side. If you watch the polls, they've all been moving to us. I've been on the street. I feel it from people.
We're out fundraising my opponent. We're out energizing my opponent. And today I picked up the 15th endorsement from another prominent Democrat. And when Democrats are endorsing the Republican nominee, it tells you how badly people want change all across this state.
I've told people in my state, look, if it's keeping you up at night as your governor, it's going to keep me up at night.
Congresswoman, you have to make a prediction. How's it going to turn out?
I think I'm going to do quite well today.
President Trump, meanwhile, ramping up his involvement in these races, holding tele-rallies late yesterday for Republicans in Virginia and urging New Jersey voters to cast their ballots for Ciattarelli.
Ciattarelli is a businessman and a public servant who has devoted his life to the people of New Jersey. He really has, too. He loves the state.
The president also weighing in on New York City's mayoral race, endorsing former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo rather than backing the Republican in the race, arguing New Yorkers have to do whatever they can to stop Zoran Mamdani. The president also baselessly showing doubt about the integrity of the vote in California, where a measure to proceed with redistricting is on the ballot. The president claiming that all mail-in ballots are under, quote, legal and criminal review. We have reporters on the ground talking with voters in key locations in all of the key races. Steve Kornacki is at the big board here at 30 Rock. Julie Tsirkin in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Gary Grumbach in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And Valerie Castro is in New York City. But, Steve, I have to start with you. Let's talk about the big gubernatorial race in Virginia. Historically speaking, the party that is out of power has typically flipped that governor's seat 11 out of the past 12 races. Right now, Abigail Spanberger does have a lead. What are you watching for? What are the key counties you'll be looking at tonight?
Yeah, Kristen, well, it'll be the first results we get. You can see right here, polls close in Virginia, first of all these venues we're talking about. So, yes, it would be a massive upset if Winsome Earl Sears, the Republican, won this race. It would be a very big surprise if this ends up being suspenseful and goes deep into the night. But a couple places that I'm going to be looking at here. First of all, you always talk about Northern Virginia here. This is where population-dense, large, giant counties here, a lot of suburbs, exurbs, bedroom communities of Washington, D.C. One that I want to key in on right here is Stafford. Oh, that is a dot, not a click. Here we go. This is Stafford County. And let me show you why I'm keying in this. You're sort of the fringes here of the D.C. metro area. Last year, Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump here. Close, but she beat him by a point. Here's what happened when Glenn Youngkin, the current Republican governor, ran in 2021. He won it by double digits. So this is the kind of county. These are the types of voters. Again, you're kind of into suburbs, exurbs here, professional class, a lot of commuters. You're talking about the types of voters who were willing to back Youngkin in 21, who do not like Donald Trump. Winsome Earl Sears has had trouble, the polls are telling us, with those voters all campaign long, especially now with Trump back in the White House. This is the kind of county she's got to be winning. She's got to be winning by a big margin. And if we don't see that when these results come in, I think it's going to confirm what a lot of the polling's been telling us.
Yeah, we will be looking very closely at Northern Virginia. That is for sure. Worth noting, President Trump held that town hall, didn't even mention Winsome Earl Sears by name. Let's head over to New Jersey, Steve. That race is a little bit closer. Republicans say they are feeling good heading into this home stretch. But what are you looking at there?
Yeah, there it is, Kristen. That's the one Republicans really do think they have a shot at. So there you go. Jack Ciattarelli. Now, remember, he ran 4 years ago. He nearly unseated the Democratic governor, Phil Murphy, who is not running for re-election. Mikey Sherrill, the congresswoman, has been leading Ciattarelli in the polls, but much closer than we see in Virginia. Two types of voters very quickly I want to look at here in New Jersey. Number one is just what I was describing a second ago in Virginia, talking about the suburbs, higher income, lots of college degrees, white collar professionals, the suburbs that don't like Donald Trump. This is Somerset County, Bedminster, where Trump's golf club is in this county. Harris won this in a landslide last year. When Ciattarelli ran 4 years ago, he didn't win it, but wow, he made it close here. Is he making it close here again tonight? He needs these voters who were willing to consider him 4 years ago to still be willing to come on board, even though Trump is back in the White House and even though they do not like Donald Trump. And the other voters I'm looking at here, particularly interesting, take a look at Passaic County here. Large Hispanic population, 40% of the population in Passaic. Trump made massive gains with Hispanic voters last year. This was a national story, and this was a New Jersey story. So much that Trump won this county. First Republican to win it at the presidential level in decades. We want to see tonight, it's Jack Ciattarelli's name on the ballot, not Donald Trump. Does that momentum continue with Hispanic voters, or does this group go back to being a core Democratic constituency, which we've traditionally seen?
Yeah, New Jersey, one of the biggest states where Trump made inroads, one of the biggest blue states. Okay, let's talk about the mayor's race here in New York City. It's hard to know how many lessons we can draw nationally because the electorate here in New York is so unique. It is so incredibly diverse, and because the candidates in this race are unique as well. Governor Andrew Cuomo, by his own admission, resigned amid various scandals. So right now, this political upstart, Zohran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, has the lead heading into Election Day, but Trump endorsed Cuomo overnight.
Yes, some interesting cross currents and dynamics, to say the least, right here. Let's dive into New York City. Again, we know Mamdani beat Cuomo. He beat him by double digits in the Democratic primary by 12 points. And we know Mamdani's been leading in the polls. They've been a bit all over the place, but the one constant has been Mamdani is leading. What Cuomo is hoping to pull the upset here, he's hoping for a coalition. First of all, age is a big part of this. What have we seen in the polls? Basically, voters over 45, Cuomo actually is doing well with, often leading in the polls. Voters under 45, he's getting clobbered with. So Cuomo wants an older electorate today. We're going to be looking at neighborhoods in New York City where there's older median age. That's where Cuomo wants to be running up the score, and that's where he wants there to be huge turnout. He also thinks he has an opportunity. He's done well traditionally with black voters, in the Bronx in particular. See what turnout is there as well. Jewish voters, he thinks he could do very well with Jewish voters. And the other group he needs, and this gets to what you just said about Donald Trump, he needs Republicans. There are some Republicans in New York, and a lot of them are backing Curtis Sliwa. If Cuomo is going to have any chance, he needs consolidation. He needs those Republicans to show up at the polls today, look at Sliwa's name, look at Cuomo's, hold their nose, and check off Cuomo's name.
All right, Steve Kornacki, you and I are going to be together all night long, and we are really looking forward to it because there's so much to watch. Thank you so much for that fantastic breakdown. Let's head out to the field now. Julie Tsirkin, who is live for us in Bridgewater, New Jersey. So, Julie, I know you've been talking to voters on the ground there. What are they telling you in these final hours of the campaign?
Well, those two counties that Steve pointed out are the exact counties that I spend most of my time in. I'll start with Passaic County. Yesterday, we were talking to Latino voters that Jack Ciattarelli spent much of his campaign focused on. A number of them voted for President Trump in November. Some of them soured on their support because of immigration, those deportations, ICE raids, but are still considering voting for Ciattarelli today. And again, he's going to need especially that in-person turnout, because when I checked in with Cheryl's team, they were feeling pretty confident about the margins that she had had in vote by mail and early voting. Now let's head to Somerset County, where I am right now. This is definitely an area that Jack Ciattarelli is hoping to thank his supporters in tonight when he holds his election party literally up the street from here. And every single voter that I've talked to, one voted for Cheryl, the other for Ciattarelli, and so on. This is really a mixed bag for him here. And he's hoping, again, that he can continue that momentum that he built in 2021, take it into this election day this time around. Take a listen to what one of the voters we spoke to said were her top issues. She voted for Ciattarelli, and I'll give you a hint. It's affordability. Watch this.
And how do you feel about New Jersey kind of leaning more to the right?
I pray it happens because so far, all the years of being on the left have not done me any good at all. I'm a small business owner, and I've really been struggling through this because I see all my clients and they're struggling. So it's hard for me to raise my prices. It's like a big catch-22 circle, and we're just chasing our tails and not getting anywhere.
Yeah, and voters like Heather, look, small business owners, property taxes, that's a really important issue in the state. Electricity prices, affordability, that's what both campaigns have been focused on. We'll see which one has the winning message, Kristen.
All right. Well, great interview there. Great analysis. Julie Tsirkin, thank you so much for that. Let's head to Gary Grumbach, who's live for us in Virginia Beach. This has become a hotbed of focus for both of the gubernatorial campaigns. You've got a lot of military families, a lot of wealthier families who have settled there. What are you hearing from the folks there today, Gary?
Voters we've talked to today here, Kristen, are frustrated. The government shutdown now on day 35 is really impacting this community in the Hampton Roads area. 60,000 federal workers live in this area. Thousands of members of the military live in this area. Voters we talked to today said they called it stupid, the government shutdown. Say they want President Trump to do something, to do anything to get this shutdown done. And they would like some of them say they would like some change in the state of Virginia in order to help make that happen. Here is what some of the folks we talked to today had to say. What do you make of the government shutdown? It's impacting so many people here in Virginia Beach and around the state.
It's stupid. They need to fix it. So I voted to fix it.
It shouldn't be shut down. I think the president should take charge and make the changes that need to be made in order to put the government back to work.
Well, I think there's a lot of government infighting, and the government doesn't tell the truth, and there's a lot of lying going on.
Now, there will be history made no matter what tonight. The first woman will be elected governor of Virginia. Kristen?
An important point there, Gary. I have to ask you about this race for the Attorney General. It's been in focus ever since Democrat Jay Jones was embroiled in that controversy over past text messages he sent making violent comments about one of his political rivals. Jason Miara is the incumbent, saying that he should drop out of the race. He has not, but it certainly has put Democrats in a tough spot. What are you watching for there, Gary?
It has, and the response from voters to that issue today has been fascinating. Some of them look at me with a blank stare because they have no idea what I'm talking about, even though TV ads are blanketing the state talking about this very issue, or they're very kind of playing coy, kind of cagey, not going to tell me exactly what they did at the Attorney General line, whether they voted for Miaris or Jay Jones. But if you look at this as a larger issue, the Democratic Party writ large has been all about bringing down the temperature when it comes to political rhetoric. If the state of Virginia, if Virginia Democrats do elect somebody who said these kinds of things about a political opponent, it does make you question where exactly this looks like when we go into 2026, when we go into 2028, where that line actually ends up being. This is going to be a very big night for Democrats.
It certainly will be. We'll be watching closely. Gary Grumbach, thank you so much. Valerie, let me turn to you in New York City. This is coming down to the wire. I just heard from Governor Cuomo, who is saying that he does think the Trump endorsement may help cut Curtis Sliwa's lead with some Republicans. What are you hearing? What is the state of play in the wake of President Trump endorsing Governor Cuomo in this race where Zohran Mamdani has a double-digit lead?
Right, and Kristen, that endorsement from the president also saying in part that whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. Voters we spoke to here today say that despite that endorsement, it really didn't change their minds as to who they were going to vote for today. In fact, some of them say it further cemented who their choice was going to be. Those voting for Mamdani say they are ready for a change. They like his focus on affordability here in the city, including his focus on making housing more affordable and childcare more affordable, while those who say they're voting for Cuomo, they believe he is the candidate that can stand up to President Trump, and they say he has the experience to actually make change happen here in the city. Take a listen to what they had to say.
I think that in a city that overwhelmingly voted against Mr. Trump, Mr. Mandela must have been applauding that one. I understand that Mr. Trump is a New Yorker. He has interest here. He has property here. I think a lot of people would have preferred that he keep his mouth shut, but he didn't, and that's Donald Trump.
Were you a fan of Cuomo's in the past when he was governor?
Yes, but that's also when I was younger. I think my parents also were a big fan of him too. But I think with Trump being president, there's been a lot of political shift and divide, and it's made us kind of realize we can't support someone who's been backed by a billionaire.
And President Trump endorsed Cuomo last night, so that solidified
that solidified my vote even more.
And Kristen, we should say voter turnout is expected to shatter records here in the city. Early voter turnout already beating records for a non-presidential election year. More than 700,000 people turned out to the polls before Election Day today. And as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, 1.4 million people had voted. Kristen.
A lot of enthusiasm there. Valerie Castro, great interviews, really insightful. We appreciate your work. We'll be checking in with you throughout the night.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.